You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
All right, you're listening to the Advent Sports Network end of the year recap of the Rubicon with Jeremy Winston and the Lance J Radio Show with James Lewis. We're going to be talking about topics that have stuck out to each of us over this 2015 year. If you followed, you know that the Lance J Radio Show covers sports and a host of topics regarding sports, and the Rubicon, hosted by myself, covers a host of topics around politics and social issues. And so what we've decided to do, we've come together to share each a topic from each of those areas and discuss them. And we want to start up to this first segment to talk about sports. And so James is going to give his topic of 2015. Thanks for doing this, James. It's good to be on and good to close out the year with a conversation with you.
Oh, definitely, and thank you for having me on my network with your show.
You're very welcome.
So
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. It's a distinguished honor. I'm hoping that I get a chance to come on the Rubicon and talk about healthcare and some of the things. One of the things that I really appreciate, not just in you, but in Alan and Crystal and other people on the ticket, we all have day jobs. It's not like we're adults that aren't successful and don't have families and don't have stuff going on. I mean, you're very successful. You're an excellent choir director. Alan's a lawyer. I run a finance department, and the fact that everyone makes time to be a part of this movement means a lot to me. What I wanted to cover for sports, I think that when you go over a recap of the year, what really sticks out to me is the emergence of Stephen Curry superseding LeBron James as the world's best player. And you kind of see it happen slowly. It's not something, usually when there's a transcendent superstar, they come into the league, and by halfway through that first season, you know that they're going to be one of the best players in the NBA. I mean, you knew it was Kobe. Once he eventually got on the floor, you knew he was going to be great. You knew Shaq was going to be great. People knew that Jordan was going to be great. Steph Curry didn't really become the best player in the league until his 7th year. And even after winning the championship last year and beating LeBron, it wasn't until after he won that championship and he was able to exhale and come back into this season and say, you know what, I am the best player. And he's gone out so far. The Warriors have stormed to a 29-1 record. And he has surpassed LeBron James as the best in the industry. And I know you've had some very interesting takes on LeBron James and his move back to the Cavs.
Well, listen, I know that that's a hard pick for you to make, man, especially since you're such a closet fan of LeBron, man, that you actually pick him as the best player in the world over LeBron James.
Well, if you look at his statistics, Stephen Curry, he averages 31 points a game. He only plays 33 minutes a game, which I think is extremely important because he sits out the fourth quarter frequently. He's shooting 47% from three-point land. He's shooting over 50% as a whole. LeBron James is shooting less than 30% outside of the key this year. LeBron is clearly on the back nine in his career. He's still elite. He's still one of the best players in the world, obviously, but he's 30. The way that he's built, being 260 pounds of solid muscle, that's going to wear on the knees. I mean, his body's not going to hold up forever. You see what Steph Curry is able to do to score so efficiently with shooting the three-pointers and the long-range two-point shots. We've just never seen anything in the league like that before.
That is true. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that, especially what he's doing now. I mean, looking at him playing last year, and especially in the finals, and I think that's where most of the country was really introduced him, where he kind of surpassed kind of the being known among the NBA diehards, but now being known among a regular household name and really reaching superstardom, and how he's continued that into this year. You can't disagree. I think he has definitely surpassed that. And it's something interesting to say about LeBron, that he's on the back nine of his career. People forget that he's had a long career already. And he's won two chips so far, but Steph Curry seems to have his style of play seems to work well for a long career for Steph Curry. So I agree.
Well, Alan, and I'll kind of flip it back to you, but Alan is going to be really upset with me for saying this, but when you look at LeBron and put so much into that series against Golden State last year, and you'll hear Alan will say, and most Cleveland Cavs fans will say over and over again, LeBron was able to almost beat Golden State by himself and with Dellavedova and J.R. Smith and missing Kyrie and missing Love. I really felt that when LeBron went up, when he won that second game in the series, I felt that they left everything on the floor, and I felt like LeBron James has never been the same player since those games where he carried in those Herculean efforts and scoring 45 points to carry those. And I think that you saw his peak, and I think that it's only down from here.
Nevertheless, let me just point out a few things. I just think if it walks like a duck, and talks like a duck, then it's a duck. It says, in 1989, Donald Trump said, black guys counting my money. I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes every day. 1991, Donald Trump said, laziness is a trait in blacks. 1991, you're fired. 2004, you're fired. 2008, I have a great relationship with the blacks. I have always had a great relationship with the blacks. 2011, you're fired. 2013, sadly, because President Obama has done such a poor job as president, you won't see another black president for generations. 2014, our great African-American president hasn't exactly had a positive impact on the thugs who are so happily and openly destroying Baltimore. 2015, and if you look at a black and African-American youth to a point where they've never done more poorly, there's no spirit. 2015, and I'm almost done.
I feel like you got some notes in front of you right now. I just feel like that. I don't know.
The Rubicon is an ASN Talk Radio expansion franchise about current events, news, and geopolitics. All footage is taped in Dayton, Ohio, and produced at Advent Sports Network's downtown studios in the lovely Emerald City of Seattle, Washington.
I mean, he's a one-dimensional fighter. He's a stand-up fighter. That's it, bottom line. I mean, he doesn't have anything else. You know, I'm more well-rounded. I have power. I can put people to sleep on their feet. I can take you down and beat a hole in your face, and I can submit you. What else can he do?
And Connor, what would your response to that be?
He will do absolutely none of those things. Not one little bit of a thing.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
It is that Chip Kelly was supposed to bring an offensive-minded approach. I mean, we knew of his historic offensive talents at Oregon and how fast they were, and his play calling schemes, and how he was going to increase the number of plays per game and all this stuff. And everyone was so excited. I mean, I remember all the pundits were saying that Chip Kelly was going to be one of the better coaches in the NFL. And I never forget. After, the first few games with all his new schemes and his colors and his numbers and all these systems, everyone said, this is going to reinvent the game. It's going to reinvent the game. And then, they win a few games and they're like, he's the greatest coach. And then he starts to lose. They say, no, don't panic. Give him a couple of days. Give him a couple more weeks. And then they start to lose some more, and then they start to get quiet. And now we're here, and we can hear nothing but the Bluebirds on Broad Street and down at the lake in Philadelphia. And listen, there's a bittersweet to this because he's a human being, and, there's some part of me you feel like, oh, man, he's losing his job. But the reality is he's taking this perennial playoff team to the laughing stock of the league. I mean, when you're fighting to lose a game like they did just this past Saturday night against Washington Redskins, and you have players coming out saying that they're not going to play hard for a non-playoff team, then you have to begin to realize that this he wasn't ready for the NFL, his strategy and his approach. So listen, it is almost as if he is a Trojan horse. It is almost as if Jerry Jones called him up on his flight over to Philadelphia and said, listen, I'll pay you $2 million if you just go there, sell off all of their great talent, get rid of them, blow the team up, and then just leave town after 3 years. You'll get fired, trust me. And he'll just slip him $2 million because it seems to be too perfect of a destruction. I haven't seen a destruction like that just remember, they had talent. It's not like he took a team that was talentless and wasn't able to revive them. This was a team with talent. This was a team that had Shady McCoy. The team had Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin. I mean, some real strong talent that they just absolutely and they didn't let it fall through their fingers. They got rid of it actively. So it is a relief for me that Eagles are now turning the page in this chapter.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the business of talk radio, and there's really a difficult thing to cover for me as an outsider, because this is one of the few stories of the year that actually leaves me flabbergasted and almost speechless. I've been following sports for a long time. I'm a person that I like to believe that I'm a sports aficionado. I don't think I've ever seen a team intentionally get rid of their good players and replace them with bad players, except for the movie Major League, the original movie Major League, where the owner is trying to move the team to Miami, so she replaces all of the talent on the Cleveland Indians with minor league level players to lose as many games as she could possibly lose so she could get out of her lease in Cleveland and move the team to Miami. Just the arrogance, and like you said, Jeremy, there were people that said that Chip Kelly's system was going to revolutionize the NFL. And for those listening, just kind of tuning in to the year-end recap for Advent Sports Network, I'm James Lewis, host of the Lance J Radio Show. I'm with Jeremy Winston, host of Rubicon. We're just kind of recapping some things of the year. And this story with Chip Kelly is so amazing because he systematically dismantled talent. And in the NFL, the ability to acquire talent is so difficult, and it takes long, and there's the war room and the draft picks. For him to blow that team up and be so arrogant and to feel that they could run 80 plays, 90 plays a game, when what you hear people say is the Philadelphia Eagles actually set the record for the fastest 3-and-out ever. I mean, they had 3 and out in 7 seconds. It's just really, it's astonishing that, and what he did to the Eagles was criminal. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I don't know how long it's going to set you guys back. I don't know how long. I don't know what your boys Clyde Simmons and Randall Cunningham and Seth Joyner and Vi Sikahema. And all of those guys, I don't know what they think about it, but it's really been unfortunate. I mean, he got clipped today, the day that we taped this, so you guys are going to have to start over. But wow, man, I've never seen someone who thought that they knew everything and they ended up knowing absolutely nothing.
Right, and it's interesting. We can, I'll just kind of close out with this. I think he felt that his system would be so singular, so unique, and so polished that the talent that exists in the NFL would not be able to catch up to it. And this is one thing that I've always held true. I've always believed that in the NFL, once people amass a significant amount of film on what you're doing, or anyone on a quarterback. I mean, there are these quarterbacks who come out and they play well for 3 or 4 games. But once the film really circulates and people begin to strategize and study and realize a player's weakness, they can begin to develop a game plan to expose that weakness and minimize their strengths. And I think he underestimated the level of talent and the level of energy that people are going to put in NFL into understanding his system and being able to overturn it. I mean, this is, in college, it's a different ball game. It's an entirely different ballgame in college. You're not dealing with the same amount of talent. You're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of different colleges. In the NFL, you've got a limited amount of teams that you're going to play, and so they can really laser focus on your strategy. And so I believe that he was putting his chips all in his strategy for his game plan. I mean, the idea that he was going to let go of Shady McCoy, the leading rusher, one of the leading rushers in the NFL for 1 year, and then say, and he ended up getting DeMarco Murray, who was the leading rusher that year. Realizing that Shady McCoy was a more talented player and understanding that DeMarco Murray came from a team with the best offensive line, he wasn't able to realize that without having a great offensive line, DeMarco Murray is not going to be able to produce the same type of yardage that Shady McCoy was going to be able to with the very average to below average offensive line with the Eagles. I mean, that's some basic mathematics that I think anyone can come up with if they just looked at it long term. But I think he felt his system would be so superior, you could throw anybody in that position and they'd be able to produce. And that just does not work in the NFL. People adapt. They're too fast. They can
everybody's a stud athlete. Everybody's talented. I think to kind of close out the segment, what I learned is the grass is not always green on the other side. Like you said, with Andy Reid was vilified in Philly, but that team was 11-5 every year. They were going deep into the playoffs. They were knocking on the door of Super Bowl. They ran Andy Reid out for this new whiz kid, and now you're looking at a 6-10 season and going back to the drawing board. So. Jeremy and I will be back after these messages. Let the sponsors get a couple of words in and pay those bills, and we'll be back to talk about the political stories that Jeremy does an excellent job covering on the Rubicon, and what were the two most important and profound political stories of 2015. Back on Advent Sports Network.
In 49 BC, Julius Caesar led an army over the Rubicon River from Gaul into northern Italy. By doing so, he crossed the point of no return and declaration of war against the Roman Empire. Centuries later, you are listening to Jeremy Winston reach his point of no return only on Advent Sports, the Rubicon.